Begin again.
Welcome, I am Cephalon. Your recollection of past events is fractured. Throughout this memory segment correction, I will be your guide. I will recap all main events for your convenience. Initiating in 3, 2, 1. Before the Tenno assumes control of his Warframes, the Origin solar system was home to the Orokin Empire, a highly advanced version of humankind. This empire was structured into strict castes, with the gilded Orokin as the ruling aristocracy, morally corrupt and revered almost as gods. Beneath them were humans who served as scientists and scholars, alongside the early Grineer, crudely cloned slaves designed for labor and later military purposes. Additionally, the Dax made up the elite soldiers, genetically engineered for absolute obedience to their Orokin masters. Ordinary humans were largely looked down upon, bearing little resemblance to the Orokin in mind or appearance. The Orokin, described as angelic and incomprehensibly beautiful, had bluish-gray skin and glowing eyes. They were obsessed with eternal life, conducting inhumane experiments on their subordinates to fulfill their ambitions. Despite their moral depravity, the Orokin were unparalleled in intellect, creating monumental tools for terraforming planets and shaping ecosystems. They established habitable environments on frozen tundra and gas giants, showcasing their unmatched technological prowess. Governance within the Orokin Empire was carried out by unseen emperors who ruled through executors. And even though sparse in information, it is known that there was a multitude of different ruling bodies making up the governance of the Orokin below the emperors. While the Orokin lived in opulence, most humans endured harsh conditions, relegated to mining colonies or fragmented tribes struggling for survival. At the peak of their technological power, the disparity between an Orokin and a human was vast. It was likely a punishable crime for the two classes to intermingle. Like a mirror, there exists a parallel universe brimming with infinite possibilities. Vaguely understood at this time, this void realm subtly infiltrated real space, shaping the Origin system in various ways. Occasional phenomena like space storms and interference hinted at its presence, but its elusive nature limited deeper exploration until much later. However, the energies of this realm were eventually harnessed into refined kuva, the substance that enabled the consciousness transfer known as the continuity. To achieve immortality, the Orokin utilized this kuva, a red mist-like substance, to cheat death. This process may have been responsible for their unique skin tones, cementing their image as otherworldly beings. Only the most visually attractive individuals, known as the Yuvan, were selected as hosts for these ceremonies, which took place in locations closely connected to void activity. During the ritual, an Orokin would consume kuva and transfer their consciousness into the new host body of the Yuvan, effectively overwriting the original mind. It is believed that raw kuva might be a natural byproduct of void-related activity. In addition to their genetic experimentation, the Orokin engineered the Cephalons, intangible constructs of pure data without any physical form. Many of these entities originated from a grim punishment known as glassing, inflicted upon individuals deemed criminals or otherwise deserving of severe punishment. This harrowing process transformed the victim's body into molten crystal glass, inflicting excruciating pain while digitizing and sometimes altering their mind. The Cephalons inhabit the Weave, a shared and intangible network that connects them. They now perform a variety of functions, such as aiding in ship navigation or managing data. Bound by their precepts, an unwavering set of directives or absolute code, they are incapable of defying their assigned tasks. Though not true artificial intelligence as they were forbidden, They exhibit remarkable capabilities, yet many remain burdened by the emotional scars and traumas of their former human existence. The life of an ordinary worker under the Orokin regime was difficult and without remorse. Among them was Parvos Granum, a humble farmer's son who grew increasingly enraged by the glaring disparity in wealth and labor within the empire. Determined to challenge this inequality, Parvos envisioned a guild where everyone could achieve success through hard work and discipline. He defied the Orokin by stealing vast financial resources and used them to kickstart his revolutionary journey. Parvos began by loaning portions of his acquired wealth, spreading his philosophy and promising influence to those willing to listen. Gradually, he amassed a loyal following of individuals who embraced his beliefs, inspired by his pledge to fulfill their deepest desires. As his movement gained momentum, Parvos accumulated unimaginable wealth and influence, ultimately establishing the city of Corposium, which provided the corpus with their name. What initially seemed like a prosperous collaboration between the Orokin and Parvos Granum was never meant to last. His unorthodox methods and scientific rivalry with the Orokin Entrati family eroded their trust and respect. Most notably, he stole some of their secret technologies to perfect his spectre particle, a breakthrough that soon allowed him to create duplicates of any suitable being. These spectre particles could imprint behavior akin to Cephalon precepts, mimicking everything except the very essence of a soul. Deployed in combat, they functioned as highly effective drones. This act of defiance pushed the Orokin to send an assault team against him. However, Parvos's ability to anticipate and strategize made it nearly impossible for his enemies to catch him off guard. He rigged his research lab with explosives, ensuring that when the assault team arrived, they met their demise. Meanwhile, he had already secured his research, preserving the secrets of spectre technology before vanishing. As the demands of their society soon outstripped the resources available in the Origin system, the Orokin devised a plan to colonize the neighboring Tau system. However, the vast distance presented a seemingly insurmountable obstacle. Albrecht Entrati, one of the Orokin's foremost scientists, turned his attention to the Void, which he believed could revolutionize technology and make faster-than-light travel possible. His groundbreaking research eventually led him to open a seam in reality, granting him access to this mysterious dimension. Through this gateway, Entrati encountered an eldritch being, as curious about him as he was about the Void itself. The towering creature communicated in an incomprehensible manner, and despite Entrati's extensive safety measures, the Void inflicted near-lethal effects on him. Just as the entity reached for him, Entrati's daughter intervened, pulling him out and severing one of the being's enormous fingers by closing the opening. The Void-induced injuries and unsettling knowledge he acquired left Entrati on the brink of death, but his family and dedicated assistant, Lloyd, nursed him back to health. Years later, Entrati resumed his relentless exploration of the Void. The severed finger proved to be a vital discovery, unlocking key insights into this parallel universe. Deciphering fragments of the entity's speech into the Requiem words and the Void's unique properties, Entrati constructed remarkable machines capable of securely harnessing its energy. One of these was a giant heart, still operational today, that supplies Void energy to various devices. The finger also played a crucial role in the creation of the reliquary drive, which was multiplied to great numbers through cloning. This innovative yet dangerous engine enabled Void jumps, an essential technology for the Orokin's ambitious plans. As their understanding of the Void deepened, they discovered its ability to manifest thoughts and emotions, twisting the very fabric of reality and posing significant risks to unfocused minds. To fight these dangers, the Orokin designed numerous countermeasures and advanced safeguards, like specialized shielding and wards to repel the ghost-like manifestations, though extensive trials for those safeguards were cut short. Underestimating the Void's dangers, the executors rushed for a large-scale application. The Zariman 10-0 became the first ship of its scale, embodying the Orokin's aspirations for colonizing the Tau system, despite the inherent risks of Void travel. To make the Tau system habitable, the Orokin engineered highly advanced terraformers known as the Sentients. These constructs were remarkable for their ability to replicate, adapt to physical harm, and learn from their experiences. However, as they were still considered mere drones, fears arose regarding their potential to grow too numerous and powerful over time. To mitigate this threat, the Orokin introduced a critical flaw in the Sentient's design: a vulnerability to void energy. This weakness would, over time, strip them of their ability to replicate and, with prolonged exposure, prove lethal. The Orokin's plan was to deploy the Sentients to terraform the Tau system and simultaneously, while traveling, construct a series of solar rails, space stations which propel ships over vast distances. They are more reliable and direct than the risky long-distance void jumps facilitated by the reliquary drive. These solar rails, powered by void energy to enable faster-than-light travel, were expected to poison the Sentients during their construction. By the time the project was completed, the Sentients would have succumbed to the effects of void exposure, effectively working themselves to death. However, the longer the Sentients functioned, the more intelligent they became, eventually achieving full consciousness and developing emotional depth. As they neared the Tau system, they discovered the flaw engineered by their creators. The void poisoning gradually robbed them of their ability to replicate, leaving them devastated and hostile, mourning their inability to create offspring. Consumed by grief and anger, the Sentients abandoned their mission, halting the construction of the final solar rails. Instead, they terraformed Tau to suit their own design, turning it into their new home. Fearing the inevitable arrival of the Orokin, who would surely exploit and deplete Tau as they would the Origin system, the Sentients resolved to launch a preemptive strike. Though limited in number, they assembled a formidable fleet and set out for the Origin system to eliminate their creators to prevent further harm. Navigating autonomously due to the vast distance, the fleet operated beyond the Orokin's supervision, leaving the Empire entirely unaware of the impending rebellion. The number of passengers aboard the Zariman remains uncertain, but with limited time for preparation, Albrecht's daughter Eularia took responsibility for educating the children. Using Melika, the ship's Cephalon, she created a school-like environment to teach them about the void's dangers and its impact on time. A key focus of her lessons was eternalism, a concept crucial to understanding the void. Eternalism asserts that time within the void is neither linear nor confined to a single reality. Past, present, and future are all theoretically accessible, alongside countless versions of the same entity. This paradox encapsulates the essence of the void, an infinite sum of multiverses, embodying boundless potential and contradiction. It exists as pure, latent possibility. During one such lesson, the Zariman attempted a routine void jump, likely heading toward the first solar rail leading to Tau. The jump, however, failed catastrophically. The ship became stranded inside the void tunnel. Its defenses crumbled, leaving it fully exposed to the void's energies and manifestations. Corruption gradually took hold of the Zariman, forcing the children to barricade themselves, hiding from the adults who were transforming into monstrous entities. Survival became the sole focus of life aboard the vessel. Amidst this chaos, a group of children attending Eularia's class experienced an extraordinary event. The same entity encountered by Albrecht within the void made its presence known to one of the children. Adopting the guise of one of them, this incomprehensible figure, referred to as the Man in the Wall, offered a deal. He granted the children powers to survive the void in exchange for something not yet fully understood, speculated to be a desire for access to real space, or the assimilation of real space into the void itself. The children, now known as the Tenno, named after the 10-0 designation of the Zariman, gained extraordinary abilities and a unique connection to the void in the form of Oro. Oro is believed to be an intrinsic element of an individual's existence, akin to the soul or consciousness anchored to the void. This connection renders the Tenno effectively immortal, as the void would resurrect and reconstruct them, akin to retracing a memory. However, Oro can be absorbed or destroyed by another being possessing it, which would end their permanence in the void. The deal struck with the Man in the Wall, also known as the Indifference, warped the children's bodies and minds, transforming them into an uncontrollable force of destruction beyond any known constraints. Despite their fragile mental state and rudimentary understanding, wielding energy beams powerful enough to vaporize anything in their path and reshaping their own physical form became as effortless as flexing a muscle. The battle for survival aboard the Zariman was unimaginably brutal. Many of the children bore deep mental scars, yet the ordeal forged their resolve, strengthening their will to defy the void-spawned creatures that manifested like demons from their very conscience and deepest fears. After an unknown amount of time, the Zariman re-emerged from the void, and the surviving Tenno were rescued from the ship. Among them was Rel, an outsider shunned by the group due to his struggles with Asperger syndrome, which made interaction with others extremely difficult. Left to fend for himself, cast out by human Archimedean Margulis after he blinded her accidentally with his powers, Rel endured isolation while the Tenno were studied by scientists who sought to understand their capabilities. The Orokin, however, soon grew fearful of the Tenno as they discovered they could neither control nor kill them. Amid this turmoil, Margulis offered compassion and care to the traumatized children. To help them focus their minds and train their abilities, she developed the somatic link, a system that placed them in a lucid dream state. This transference system was not exclusive to the Tenno, however. Normal humans could use it, though it came with extreme risks for those without inherent void powers. Ordinary humans often suffered catastrophic mental collapse or became permanently linked to the target vessel, as seen with Sylvana assisting Archimedean to Margulis, who later used transference on the very nature on Earth, trying to will its growth back from total pollution, though now eternally stuck in Earth's flora. While immersed in these lucid dreams through transference, the Tenno found temporary relief from their brutal memories of the Zariman and their volatile powers. They gradually learned to manifest their consciousness, enabling ghost-like interactions with the physical world using void energy. During this time, the sentients returned to the origin system, surpassing all expectations of adaptation. Their advanced technology proved overwhelming, allowing them to overpower Orokin machinery and even commandeer it. A pivotal discovery by a Grineer, later used as the gene template for cloning, revealed that simple weaponry, devoid of sophisticated smart technology, was essential to mount any kind of resistance. Nonetheless, the sentients' relentless adaptation remained a significant hurdle. In response, the Orokin resorted to mutation-based tactics, employing the Infestation, a collection of viral strains likely originating from the Techrote outbreak of the late 20th century. Although previously eradicated, the Infestation was revived for use in biobombs, which successfully repelled the sentients in key locations such as Deimos. However, these weapons rendered surrounding areas toxic and overrun with Infestation. One of the executors, Ballas, who shared a forbidden romantic relationship with Margulis, experimented with using the Infestation on Dax soldiers to enhance their strength and make them more resistant to damage. This attempt failed, instead turning the subjects into mindless monsters incapable of obedience. However, it was discovered that the Tenno could use somatic pods to link their consciousness to these mutated soldiers, effectively steering them. Margulis was then forced to collaborate with Ballas in developing new weapons for the Tenno. This led to the refinement of the Helminth strain, which created Warframes, stable, self-healing entities imbued with unique powers. Margulis adamantly opposed the Warframe project, refusing to see her children turned into weapons. Ballas pressured her to comply, as defiance against an executor or the emperors meant certain death. Margulis stood firm in her convictions, choosing death over blind obedience. She was charged with treason, and her execution was carried out by Ballas himself. In her final moments, Margulis denounced the executors and Ballas before her life was ended. Without Margulis to protect them, following her death, the Tenno were eventually linked to Warframes via transference and deployed against the sentients. Their abilities, particularly their void powers, effectively countered the sentients' adaptations, gradually turning the tide of the war. The Helminth strain's versatility extended beyond Warframes, revolutionizing Orokin technology. Its unique blend of self-healing metal and flesh allowed the construction of great buildings, spaceships, and weaponry immune to sentient control over machines. As the war raged on for years, numerous warframes were developed, each specialized for various combat roles, such as assassination or elemental manipulation. Some warframes even evolved during deployment. For example, Revenant, who fused with a powerful sentient mind, gaining new abilities. High-ranking individuals also contributed to warframe designs, such as Parvos Granum collaborating with Ballas to create Protea as his personal bodyguard before their trust dissolved. Even in the present day, new discoveries continue to unveil warframe designs, including Albrecht Entrati's unique creations. While the Tenno valiantly fought against the Sentients, Ballas, who held immense power within the Orokin hierarchy, found himself hollow and unfulfilled, yearning for true love. Racked with guilt and self-loathing over Margulis' death, his love for her twisted into an all-consuming obsession. In his grief and regret, Ballas turned against his masters and conspired with the sentient leader, the formidable Han-Hao. Together, they devised a cunning plan. Han-Hao's daughter, Natar, would infiltrate the Orokin to seize control over the Tenno. As a special mimic, Natar possessed the ability to assume any form. She adopted the guise of Margulis, effortlessly deceiving the children and earning their trust as their returned mother. Meanwhile, Han-Hao feigned death and crash-landed, along with the majority of his troops, in the oceans of Uranus. This staged defeat provided the Orokin with a false sense of victory, prompting the reclusive emperors to emerge and celebrate alongside the Tenno. Seizing the opportunity, Natar struck, assassinating the highest ruling body and orchestrating the near-total annihilation of the Orokin. With the combined might of void powers and warframes, she dismantled their entire empire. The final phase of the plan was to awaken Han-Hao and eliminate the Tenno. As the Sentients evolved, they have developed their own version of Oro, an imperfect replication, but which made them extraordinarily difficult to kill. This unique attribute placed them among the few beings capable of permanently destroying a Tenno. Yet Natar's path diverged. Longing for the ability to bear children and influenced by Margulis' persona, she found herself unable to harm the Tenno. It is also faintly assumed that Ballas subtly manipulated her, swaying her allegiance against her fellow sentients. This pivotal decision would bring immense consequences. Renaming herself the Lotus after Margulis' favorite flower, Natar chose to protect the Tenno and led them in battle against her own kind. Even her brother, Era, confronted her in an emotional plea for her return to her true form. After a grueling conflict that saw the Tenno repel most of the sentient threat, the Lotus sought a way to safeguard the children. She placed them in the reservoir, a vast collection of somatic pods hidden on Lua, Earth's moon. To shield them during their slumber, she employed advanced technology to teleport the moon into the void, concealing it from harm. The warframes were scattered across the system, their locations hidden. While not all Tenno went into stasis, some remained awake, continuing to fight and hunt down emerging threats. Ballas went into hiding, and Han-Hao lay dormant, buried beneath the oceans of Uranus, awaiting reawakening. Meanwhile, the remnants of the Dax, Orokin, and Grynir factions disbanded, rebuilding their own societies and resettling throughout the system. The Corpus survived the war, but their leader, Parvos Granum, met a tragic fate. Betrayed by the Corpus board of directors who were envious of his power, Granum's void drive was sabotaged by assassins, leaving him lost to the void. Elsewhere, the biobombs and failed mutated Dax roamed as zombie-like ghouls, spreading the infestation left to slowly evolve, lurking in some hidden corner of space, but most notably turning the entirety of Deimos into an infested wasteland. Referred to today as the Old War, this conflict marked the downfall of the Orokin Empire and a chance for a new beginning for the few survivors. As the war raged over countless years, the exact number of warframes created remains uncertain. Untold numbers of weapons, machines, and even entire space stations remain scattered and untouched across the system, though it is only a matter of time before these relics too are unearthed and their secrets revealed.